Every family that has an alcoholic in their family will come to a point where the alcoholic will do something that's so egregious, that's so outrageous, that they will get to the point where they just can't do it any longer. Now, they might stay with the person, they might keep the alcoholic in their life, but they're going to view the entire situation with different eyes and with a different heart. Understand that when I talk about my wife and my spouse and things that happened years ago, that I'm not disrespecting her memory. On the contrary, I'm actually exposing her mistakes so that it can help other people and other families. Understanding the difference is key to understanding what I'm doing and the conversations and the scenarios that I'm trying to create. Now, they are very graphic in nature sometimes, but so is the disease. The disease is a very horrible, graphic, ugly thing to go through for both alcoholics and their families. So let's continue the point where I had had enough, and my son and our family really got to the point where in my heart I could no longer do it. So let's continue the conversation. And I think the point of no return for myself, when I look back, it was the beginning of the end, was when my mother was dying in the hospital. She had had a series of strokes, and we would visit her. She lived in New York, I live in California, and my wife and I and our son, we flew back really to spend the last few weeks or days with my mother. And when we were in the hospital, my son and I would go to the hospital. My wife would stay back at my dad's house. My dad was with us at the hospital along with other family members. And what I didn't realize at the time, the reason why she was staying back at the house was because she was cleaning out my dad's liquor cabinet, and he had some old bottles of like vermouth and vodka and Jack Daniels. I mean, he didn't drink. They were probably dusty old covered bottles, but there was about 10 of them. And over the period of about 2 weeks, without really understanding, she was drinking every single bottle every day. Until one day when I came home early from the hospital and found her on the floor in the living room in a pool of her own urine. And again, it's an ugly, ugly scene, but it was one that was it crossed every line and every border as both a husband, a friend, and as somebody who was watching somebody suffer from this horrible disease. And for me, going through the event of having to watch my mother die, and she eventually did within a week or so of that happening, and then to have to come home and deal with all the trauma and just the toxicity of my wife emptying my dad's liquor cabinet out and the embarrassment of that, and then to find her drunk on the floor, completely disregarding all the, just the horror and the nightmare that we were going through with my mother's last days. And for me, it crossed every border, and it was beyond any rational judgment or thinking that I could accept. And for me, it was the turning point certainly for us in our marriage. And I never really felt the same about her, and it was never the same. And for that point on, it was the beginning of the end. And I think a lot of people will reach this particular moment, and they will realize that there's a particular moment similar to this. It's the beginning of the end. And if you are a family member and you do get to the point where this is going on in your life and you just can't do it anymore, well, your options are either to hang out and stay with that person or to leave, essentially. Those are your two options, or to get that person in a safe place at the very least. These are the options. They're very limited, but it's a very difficult position for family members to be in. It's heartbreaking, it's full of anguish, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. So telling these stories, I hope they help other people, that it's relatable. It's important conversation to have to expose these type of truths. And again, if this is something that resonates with you and you need help with yourself or with a family member, click the link in my link tree in my bio. I've helped thousands of alcoholics, and just as importantly, I've helped their families. And again, please like, share, and comment. And again, we have a Facebook group called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism, which is becoming a very good support group. And we talk about these issues and so much more every day. And again, thanks for listening.